Hi, tall geese. Ooh, what's it? Thank you, Gabby. Thank you. Well, enjoy your drawing, everybody. Well, let me get my microphone closer to me. Forgot about that. Where do I want it, actually? Just put that right there. That's fine. Testing, testing. Yeah, I'm loud enough. Greetings from Canada. Well, greetings from the United States. Greetings, greetings. You know, let me get my, where's my strength training anatomy? Sometimes you gotta do some real work instead of just chilling the whole time. That's pretty good. Hello, everyone. Hi, Josh. Hi, Hardik. May your drawings go wonderfully today, everybody. I wasn't talking to you, dog. Don't come scampering in here. Oh, God. No, don't do it. Don't you do it. Greetings from the Bronx. Greetings from Queens. You just finished reading War of Art. I'm not sure if I've ever read War of Art. I maybe have. There's a couple books with a similar title, like Art War, The Art Struggle, War of Art. It's so hard to be an artist. Things like that. I've probably read it. I've never much gone in for any of those for any of the books that sort of reify the pain of being an artist. I don't need to be reminded about how the pain feels so real. I instead need to be reminded that the pain is not necessary. Can I actually get the thing that I'm referencing in there? There you can see the pose I'm kind of looking at there. Could probably find one that's more apt, where the leg is fully compressed. Maybe not. I guess most exercises with the leg will only bring it to like 90 degrees. There's one, but it's flipped. Hi, Youre. I thought the pain was necessary, but suffering wasn't. Not in art. Most people will inevitably experience pain because they tell themselves that what they're doing is difficult and it doesn't feel real, the amount of time that you spend drawing, if you don't feel like, wow, I'm really exerting myself here. But in reality, nothing in art is difficult. You can be confused about stuff. It's like the only stuff you would think is difficult is like things you are confused by or you don't have an answer for yet. But there's nothing difficult about confusion. There's difficulty and strain and things like worrying and not being able to finish things on time and things like that, but the actual confusion of not knowing what to do or not having an answer for a particular drawing problem, there's not anything difficult about that. Because you just don't have the solution until the moment that suddenly you do, out of nowhere. And you invent a problem there in the middle, but in the lack of free will sort of Buddhist sense of things, it's like the solution just appears when it's ready to appear, and that's the end of the that's the end of the equation. And don't get me wrong, I feel plenty of pain while I draw, but I just have to admit, if I'm paying attention, I have to admit it's never necessary. It's always a story I'm telling myself. And suffering, yeah, that's not about the art. You tell yourself it's about the art, but it's always about other things. It's always just about your inability to sit with your own thoughts and your traumas and your fears. It has nothing to do with art. It's like existential suffering. Hey Steven, you told us about project-based learning and drawing. Do you know how that can be applied in learning writing? I'm probably the wrong person to ask about that. I'm not like what most people would consider a quote-unquote writer. Like someone who writes novels or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's pretty direct. Well, I think it's probably more obvious in writing. It's like, if you want to be a novelist, write novels, right? You're not gonna make the mistake that so many artists make, where you think the best way to write novels is to avoid writing them for years. Feels like that's less of a problem for writers. I don't meet a lot of writers who are like, yeah, writing these BuzzFeed articles is making me better at writing for novels. I think most writers understand that that's a bit of a stretch. And it's like, yeah, at least you're still writing, but obviously if you were it'd be crazy to advise someone to work for BuzzFeed to prepare them to write the great American novel, right? Writers would tell each other, like, just write your book. Artists really have a special kind of confusion with that stuff. It truly is a uniquely artistic, current artistic as well. It wasn't always the case. It doesn't seem. It was it's a very new invention created by a lot of silliness on the internet. It's a particular artist problem. A drawing artist problem. I don't see a lot of dancers who think they have to avoid dancing for years before they're ready to dance. I heard you talk about using art as therapy. How do you approach that? Do you draw the emotions you are struggling with to try to express them? Thank you. You could do that. I know a lot of people who do that. That's not how I do it in particular, but you totally could do that. I come more from the... it's less... I feel like I use art less as a form of therapy in the traditional sense than I do as a reminder of particular life-defining insights, if that makes sense. It's like I have my core beliefs and my highest values, right? I have my sense of mystery, my sense of wonder, my sense that I do not understand what life is and that life is still broad and beautiful and strange and that anything is possible. the sense that I am not my thoughts, the sense that I am before my worries and my self-identification. And those core insights are therapeutic to me. Every moment of my life where I can remember them distinctly, hold on to them, is synonymous with a moment of freedom from neuroses and fear and insecurity and contraction. So drawing as an art form, as a practice, if I'm paying attention, makes it impossible for me to forget those things. I don't know how drawing is done. A lot of it is done unconsciously. It appears to be me, but it is also not me. I can't explain it. I don't know from where it comes and to where it goes. And yeah, if I pay attention to drawing while I do it, it is a constant reminder of my freeing core beliefs and my freeing values, which not everything in life is like that, you know? Doing chores and filing paperwork and making money is generally, they don't remind you of those things. They remind you instead of the things you're afraid of. So I think that's what I mean when I say that I use drawing as a form of therapy. It's like I'm less interested in capturing particular emotions than I am in reminding myself of the absolute shocking miracle of being. Any tips for a very beginner artist? I've only been learning for 1 year. Don't get caught up in methods. So early on, the number one thing that you should be cultivating is your love of drawing on its own, not any particular method. All methods and pedagogies will fail you. And the inevitable end result of following them blindly will be disappointment. Do not love drawing for its own sake, that disappointment can unhorse you completely. If you love drawing for its own sake, if you have cultivated a beautiful relationship with it, then you can use all of the methodologies and pedagogies with wisdom and not let them control you. They will be your tool instead of you being hijacked and tooled by them. Hello, Steven. For a while I had this fear of drawing line art and just finishing a piece. I spent a ton of time sketching though. Ever happens to you? It was the biggest problem in my art career. Ever happened to me? It wouldn't stop happening to me. Undoing that part of my temperament was the most difficult thing I ever did in my art journey. I think most artists begin from one of two camps. You're either a sketcher or you are a drawer. You know, you make drawings, not sketches. Or, you know, painter or whatever. You get what I'm saying. You're either inclined to finish or you're inclined to sketch. You either love the end result or you love the process. I think everybody starts a little bit more on one side than the other. And then for most individual artists, so much of the mental war of the path is addressing that and getting a little bit of the other side into you. I was probably on the extreme end of the spectrum for sketching. I mean, I could spend 10 hours a day drawing, and in 10 hours, I would do multiple hundreds of sketches. I would draw figures out of my head, just, you know, monsters, creatures, figures, environments, little scenes, sketched roughly. I would do hundreds in a day, just hundreds. I just wouldn't get tired. And it got me a lot of mileage, and I learned a lot from doing it, but the only habit I was building there while I did that was the sketching habit. I wasn't building anything like a finishing habit. And it threatened to undo me. There were plenty times in my career where I had to honestly face the fact that I might have to give up on art if I can't finish anything, because no one's going to pay me for sketches. And very few portfolios are appropriately filled with just sketches. So it was getting pretty bad. A lot of anger, a lot of frustration. Cried a few times. Did a couple pitiful prayers to propitiate whatever angry and vengeful God is up there, who would keep someone who loves art so much from finishing anything. Definitely got down on my knees a few times. It was the occasional ritual. All of this to say, it's a serious problem. Don't take it lightly. You have to finish stuff. My number one regret when I look through my old artwork, actually number one is difficult. Usually my only regret when I look through my files, when I look through old art, and we're talking old, even stuff that I drew with my skill set from like 8 years ago, most of the time my only regret is that I didn't finish it. I just go through the files and I'm like, should have finished that one, should have finished that one, should have finished that one, should have finished that one. And I honestly basically never even notice failures of draftsmanship or planning or execution or, you know, oh, that could have had a more beautiful value pattern or something. I literally never think of that when I look at my old stuff. My only regret most of the time, I'm going to say 90% of the time, is that I didn't finish it. It is a huge career destroying problem. So finish stuff as often as you can. It's not a joke. And if you come from the other side of the spectrum, if you're a rabid finisher and you hate doing studies, you probably got to buckle down a little bit and be serious about focusing on the failures in your skill set and addressing them directly. Most artists need to go through a balancing act of sliding their natural temperament more towards the side they don't come from. Yeah, that Jake Parker video, that famous Jake Parker video puts it pretty well. I think it's the worst problem to have, though. Like, I think it's worse to be unable to finish stuff and only sketch. I think that's worse for careers than only finishing things and being unable to bring yourself to sketch or study in the abstract. Lots of people still get art careers off of being unable to improve their skills or study or do a lot of mileage and stuff like that. Those people, just off the fact that they actually have anything to show anybody, that they have projects, they are more likely to get jobs and to have careers and stuff like that. And the bitter, obsessive sketcher who has been grinding, whatever art book is popular right now for several years, and looks at them and is like, how come their crappy thing, they get to have a career out of it? It's like, because they made anything and you never will. So they definitely deserve the career before you do. Ship product, ship product, ship product. How to avoid the paralyzation of needing to get better at everything. I never do studies because I get paralyzed over what to pick to study. Yeah, just don't do that. Quit that. Stop it. Stop it. Just do your dream. Just do whatever your dream is. If you dream of making comics, just start making that stupid comic that's been in your head since you were 12. Just make it. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be bad. Just make it and get it out of your system and move on to the next one. Nobody cares about your skills. People care about finished product. That's all people care about. Just do your dream. If you dream of being a concept artist, just start designing books, start to finish. Just pick your favorite books and just make design portfolios out of them. Here's a 20-page design portfolio of Game of Thrones. Here's a 20-page design portfolio of reimagining Metroid. Here's a 20-page design portfolio of, reimagining some Kafka play. I don't know. Did Kafka write plays? I don't think he wrote plays. Steven, you ever draw comics? I used to, years and years ago. I briefly had a webcomic about my high school. That was really the only time that I drew comics. love to read the comic about your high school. Is it still up? Nope. You would not like to read it. It was a terrible 3-panel gag comic that was all inside jokes. It would be indecipherable to you. I don't even have them anymore. I don't know where they went. Are you familiar with Simon Stalenhag? Yeah, he's very popular. I've seen his stuff. I want to ask a question that I also ask many times to myself when I draw. Do you like more when you like your piece or when others like it? I really, it's really just about if I like it for me. I mean, people don't really like, there's like very little satisfaction in other people liking your piece. Like, the Lycometer on Instagram is just like a number, you know? And it's like, you don't even know why you didn't get more. Like, how much stuff do you scroll by on Instagram that it's like, have you ever realized, like, I know I do this, the more I was blown away by something, the less likely I am to like it. Like, I'm more likely to like something that I thought was mediocre just from someone who, like, I know that I just want to, like, throw them support. And stuff that really stops me in my tracks, I'm like, oh, shit. And then I stare at it and I zoom in and I look at the details and then I'm like, that's freaking amazing. And then I forget the liking part because I had this whole other process that was more interesting, and then I just keep scrolling. Like, yeah, I don't know if anybody else does that, but I do that all the time. It's like, it's not like it's some civil service to like everything that you enjoy past a certain threshold, right? So when I think about the fact that I do that, it's like, that just shows that there's all these different ways to interact with things. So it's like the Lycometer on anything, on Instagram, on YouTube, is like, who cares? If it's all me out there, that might mean that the lower the number, the better I did. It's total chaos. So the numbers mean nothing. And, you know, it doesn't really, like, no one, like, messages me about my art, you know? The comments are generally like the same all the time, you know? Like, it doesn't matter if I posted something I spent an hour on, or if I posted something that I spent 80 hours on. The comments look the same. The comments are like, that's great, wow, super cool, like, which I love as much as anybody else. Like, I'm happy to receive kind words, but you'll get kind comments no matter what. You'll get some random number of likes no matter what. So other people's reaction just is very, very low for producing satisfaction for me. It's just like, that's just like a weird mystery as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so it's, for me, it's just about me. It's just if I liked it or not. I appreciate the, you know, I certainly like having people to talk to, and I like that people like the work, but it doesn't factor into my personal satisfaction with the practice. Maybe the marketing part of my life, it factors into that, but it doesn't really touch the art directly. And yeah, it's a dangerous road. Just for the record, generally, as a general rule, my favorite stuff that I've ever done, whenever I've posted it, is like a flop. There's a few things that have aligned, but a lot of the times the stuff that I had the most fun with, and that was my favorite stuff that I've done, is like very unappealing to people. So, and the converse is true. Stuff that I'm like, ugh, really? Like, you like that? Is some of my most, is stuff that gets like a really outsized reaction compared to other things. So I'd rather not go down the slippery slope of letting that determine what I'm gonna or not do, gonna do or not gonna do. That's funny, Limptic Rage. That's funny. Thinking about that, let me like the stream. If I want to do pictures that haunt people in their sleep, is there anything else I can do than studying artists? No, there's a lot you can do. You can try, one of my favorite things to do is to avoid putting happy harbor seals in the drawings. That usually helps. Something that one of my mentors taught me years and years ago about making scary images is if you avoid putting like two best friends meeting at their favorite cafe on a chilly Sunday morning to have coffee together in the picture, that usually helps it feel a little bit scarier. If you avoid putting that kind of thing in it. I've been an intermediate artist for long. Now I'm taking the beginner course from ArtWad to help my spatial awareness, which means drawing thousands of boxes with you on stream. All right, go for it. Get through those boxes. Don't forget your dreams. Forget your dreams. Aw, thanks, Giannis. That's nice. I'm glad you drew your Kraken creature. I really haven't been checking Instagram much these days. Apologies. I might see it, though. It was bothering me. I go through phases where I like banish it off my phone for a few weeks, and then I'll go back on it. Thank God for auto posting. Just queue up like a month of Instagram posts in the Creator Studio, and then you can just uninstall it from your phone, but you're still posting to Instagram. I wish everything had that. Hold on here, people. I gotta have a sip of water. All right, enough of this. Oh, man. You ever start drinking and the moment the water hits your lips, you realize you were dehydrated? It's like your body was ignoring it for you for a bit, and as soon as it touches your lips, it's like, oh my God. Can you show your dog's drawings? If you want to see my dog's drawings, just look at like the top of ArtStation on any given day. Most of that stuff is hers. She just uses different handles because she doesn't want to discourage beginners. Seeing somebody that prolific usually depresses beginner artists or gives them really unrealistic expectations, so she uses a bunch of different handles to spread it out. Do you think about how fast you draw? I recently noticed I naturally make marks much faster than a lot of other artists I'm friends with. I started to slow down and saw an immediate improvement. I don't think about it much these days, but I used to. I went through an awkward period where for a while, maybe for a few weeks, I became very aware of that, and I consciously chose to draw at half speed. Just draw slow enough that it frustrated me, basically, and try to increase my thoughtfulness. So it's a consideration. It's a thing. Like I said, I don't do that anymore now.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your drawing. He told me enough. He said you erased it. No, I am your drawing. No!
This morning I found a random Christian knee in my room. Not sure what to do. I let the landlord know. Might have to call the exterminator. Didn't you have this problem too? Yep. Came scuttling right out from the crack between the baseboard molding and the floor in my apartment. Skittered all around. Long legs, high center of gravity. Ugh! Hate those Christians. You should try spraying, like sprinkling baking powder all around the corners of the room.
Well, if it isn't Ahmed Al-Duri, didn't think I'd see your face around here anytime soon. Ready to get your butt kicked again?
Steven, have you done an interview with Christian? Yeah, I did. Christian was all like, Steven, why do you think you're so smart or whatever? And I was like, what? I don't think that. And he was like, you do, you're a pretentious ass. And I was like, oh, this all feels a little set up-ish, you know? You brought me into this sketchy van, told me you were gonna be nice, throw me nothing but softballs. We agreed upon that beforehand. Nope, nothing but hardballs. Started getting into the real deal. It went terribly. Hey Steven, question. You work freelance and also do personal art. How do you get the same feeling of creative fulfillment when making personal and your professional works for clients? I don't. It's not about my personal fulfillment when I'm working for clients. When I work for clients, it's just about making their dreams come true. That actually used to be my go-to stupid line when an AD would come over to my desk back at my first studio job. They'd come over to kick me off on some new project, and I would just say, all right, how can I make your dreams come true? Yeah, and not in all client jobs, but in most client jobs, the best thing you can do to be professional is to eradicate your personality. To just become a wrist. You don't put your personality or your personal fulfillment in there unless they tell you to. Unless they say, put a little of yourself in there. Why don't you have a little fun on that one? And then you need to be able to like click open the folder that is your personality and put it there on demand, but still it's only because they asked for it. And when they inevitably look at it and decide that your personality horrifies them, you have to be totally comfortable removing it. It's a real Zen dance. Steve, I want to ask you something. How do you always draw all the time and never get bored? I know it's tiring. When I draw something for like 30 minutes, I get bored. I mean, I get bored too. I just ride it out. It's like boredom is just a random feeling that arises in the body, you know? I'm not choosing it. It shows up unbidden. And just sit with it. It's like, all right, I'm bored. My response to boredom is, who cares? Just sit through it. In 5 minutes, I'll feel different. You know, it's very rare that you feel the same way for a very long period of time. It's also like, I've been doing this too long to like let being bored determine my actions. You know, that's just it still happens, but it's like, it's just a failure. It's not a useful diagnostic in any way. It's like I said earlier in the stream, my number one critique of past work, in fact, usually my only critique of my past work, is that I did not finish it. I hardly ever look back and regret design decisions or bad planning or bad setup or bad execution. Like, when I look back on that and I see that I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're not that good, and you certainly weren't that good earlier. The number one thing I always regret is that I didn't finish it. That I didn't actually make the thing. That's always my regret. So the pain of that, the confused cognitive dissonance, just straining weirdness of that regret is like, what is boredom in the face of that? Oh, hi, Pug. How are you, doggy? Hi, puppy. Who's a good girl? What is it? Not you, Siri. Shut up. What is it? Oh, she's exercising. You hate that. Yeah, it's true. I know, it's hard. Hey, Med, are you and Christian getting up to any fun activities while he's over there? Any nature trips planned or anything like that? Steven, do you think there is a relationship between talent and IQ, or not at all? I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, I will say that most of the high-level artists that I know are very, very thoughtful and attentive people, you know? They all seem smart, but I have no idea how they would fare on an IQ test. If you're asking me if you're not talking about IQ in particular, if you're just asking me in a broader sense, like, does being an intelligent, clever, resourceful, and snappy person make it easier to be an artist? Yeah. But I'm sure that goes for absolutely everything. I think being that kind of person makes everything easier. I have never used the heavy paint app. I've had other painting apps on my phone and stuff like that. I've just never... I don't actually use them. It's like when I'm out in the world, it's like I spend so much time making art at my desk that it's like when I'm out in the world, I really don't want to be still drawing most of the time. I want to be looking at the world. I am always looking at the world in terms of like drawing and light and color and stuff like that at this point in my life. It's a very pleasant way to be out in existence. I like the mindfulness and the mental awareness that it brings to the moment-to-moment experience of doing anything, like walking to the bank or something like that. I always try to be in my head a little less when I'm out there in the world, and I'm always looking at how the light casts shadows, the overall color field and value field of the day that day. It's a beautiful way to live. I love it. All of that like poetic crap that people tend to think is silly and stuff like that, like every place has different light, different color casts and things like that. Light is different day to day. It's true. It really is true. It's crazy. Kim Jung-gi is disappointed in you? Yeah, I bet he is. I bet he is. In a past stream, I think I remember you saying you can see in your head what you want the picture to be, but how vivid is it? Is it basic shapes, detailed, or somewhere in between? If I'm consciously choosing to visualize it, it's hyper vivid. It's hyper vivid. But I don't usually use that while I draw, if I'm honest. Maybe the subconscious part of me that is drawing is accessing that regularly while I draw, but the conscious part of me is just reacting to stuff on the paper. Drawing is a very weird practice, and we do not understand the nature of consciousness, so we do not understand the nature of drawing. Give me a second, I'm dancing. All right. That was good right there. Thank you, Ada. Which artist can I read, study to get a grip on expression? I would look at like animators. They get it down simplified. It's really just about creating an emoji of an expression and then adding details on top of that. No, doggy, don't do it. No, don't butter my bread. Don't butter it. Draw instead, draw. Keep your fingers away from the keyboard. Tank me in the algorithm. I'm happy to take an algorithmic hit for lack of chat engagement. If you make a drawing, please, please. I might have to go quiet mode in a bit. My wife has a call that she needs to do, so in about 5 minutes, I think I'll stay on and draw longer, but I won't be talking. The microphone will be off. But I don't expect I'll be going anywhere for a few minutes, so I might as well keep it on. Then again, it is lunchtime. Hard to know what to do. Hey Amber, how are you? How you doing? How you faring? How's life? What is up? Splint Meow, you might be thinking of my arch nemesis, James Zapata. I've done a lot of paintings that I have forgotten at this point, but I think the one that you're referring to is one of his. Yes, and James is my arch nemesis of video titling. That is true. You gotta come off it, man. Ain't nobody got the esoteric titles on my level. These strange and exotic titles. Steven, I've been going through a slump recently and just wanted to say today is the first time in a few weeks I've been able to immerse myself in drawing. Thanks for watching your videos this morning. Oh, I love that. I smaug art. Smauga. Smauch. Smauch. I think it's I smauch art. That's great. I smauch art. I'm glad you're back to drawing. Happy to have helped. Pleasure to be of service. Engine, you have to stop being afraid of failing. Remember, it's guaranteed that you are going to fail. That is a promise. You are absolutely going to fail. So you are either going to let something obvious and guaranteed unhorse you and ruin your life and make it so that you never make anything, or you're just going to accept that you are bad and that you are supposed to be bad at this point in the journey and make your stuff. Steven, do a Spanish stream? No creo que puedo hacer eso. No creo que tengo el vocabulario en español para hablar por horas de arte. Pero si puedo coger un poquito más práctica, arreglar unas cosas, puede ser. Pero ahorita no. Es muy difícil. Lo puedo tratar, pero sin dibujar. It didn't improve the viewing experience, James? Well, at least you're giving me the views. I'm getting those views. I see you have invoked the great Lofi Girl for auditory pleasure today. She's the only option, as far as I'm concerned. It's so hard to find music you can use on streams. It's Lofi Girl for life. Everything else that like is free for stream use is like offensive. It's like not good. It's annoying. But the Lofi Girl stuff is perfectly apt. Which I guess is why they're the absolute touchstone for perfectly apt study music. Steven, how many languages do you know? Only English and Spanish. I took Italian back in high school, but it didn't stick. Good luck out there, James. Good luck out there. Yeah, send me about the drawing group. What days are you doing it? If it's Saturdays, I've got workshop that day, and that makes it hard for the rest of October. But I'm definitely down to join up in November. I want to go. I guess a better way to ask my question would be, do you think it is necessary to go 100% to digital art to get a job in the industry? Yeah, for most jobs, yeah. The art directors need the flexibility of digital to make things affordable. They need to know you can do corrections cheaply, and that they can just ask you to do anything anytime. That's become the industry standard. That didn't used to be a thing. You know, it used to be that your contract would say, this seems crazy now, but it used to say, contracts used to be very clear, and terms with art directors used to be very clear. It used to be like, after you approve the thumbnail, no changes to overall composition. Like, that was like a thing about doing commercial artwork for years and years and years. Now with digital, that standard is gone, and art directors don't want that. They don't want to do that anymore. Art directors want you to do digital so that they know they can ask you to change anything anytime. So yeah, for the most part, it's required. You at least need to be able to offer them those changes digitally in some reasonable time frame. You have to tell them, like, I only do traditional paintings for this sort of stuff, but I want you to know I can fix stuff up in Photoshop, no problem. I have enough editing skills in digital to do that. Obviously, unless you're like Brahm or something. Unless you just get famous for your traditional paintings, then it's different. But anything you get famous for is like, you don't need my advice. And you don't need to ask questions about it. But if you're just like, yeah, a regular commercial artist, just middle of the pack, yeah, you need digital. We've been doing them Saturdays, but I can schedule some Sundays as well. Well, don't do it for me. Just wait till November to, like, keep doing it Saturday if Saturday works for you. And once November rolls around, I don't have the workshop on Saturdays anymore. How far? Oh God, November's only 2 weeks away. Good Christ. You've been getting a lot of non-artists. That's cool. Interesting. People just want to hang, I guess. Brahm's great. Yeah, if you're Brahm or Donato Giancola, you're on a level where, you know, people don't really want you. They don't care if you're working digital. They're there for your look, and your look is traditional. So that's a different consideration. Dear Stephen, what is your general opinion about timed art tests or using timed art tests as a fine art university's entrance exam? Example, draw a life portrait of a middle-aged man in 3 hours, 45 minutes. I mean, it's as good as any arbitrary entrance thing for a university. It's all crap. It's all lies and BS. unless you're going to like a very like design focused school, like really focused on, it's all about skill and things like that. If they're not branding that way, you're not getting accepted based on your skill. All schools base their acceptance on monetary considerations, distribution of student body and things like that. Like your skills don't really matter. So a timed art test for a school is like, it's as good as anything else. It doesn't matter. Hey, Dragoon. All good with me. What's good? My health. My dog, my wife. My drawing hand. My temperament. My mood. That's what's good. I get shaky hands. I smell art. Sometimes they're just shaky. Seems random. Like they're not shaky today on stream, even though sometimes they're shaky and I think it's like, no, I'm nervous about streaming, so my hands are shaking. It's like random. Could be anything. Could be too much caffeine, nerves, uncomfortable pencil. I'm gonna run in a couple minutes here. I gotta eat some lunch before I got another call at 1 to do a head demo for my workshop students. So I gotta sneak in that lunch. So if I can be helpful to you in the next few minutes, let me know. Throw any questions in there. Steven, did you also play Sekido? Yeah, just the beginning of it though. The only game I got it for PC, and the only PC we have is my my wife's work laptop that she uses for school. So I barely ever got to play it on there. I got it while she was on vacation, so I played the beginning, and then she went back to school, and I lost momentum for it. Oh, you know what? Before I go, I'm gonna test something. Here to ask questions. I just want to test some stream function thing. Do you know about the students who didn't make it after going to Art Center? Well, I mean, I'm sure those exist. I know those exist. I don't know anything about them. I don't really try not to waste too much time thinking about that kind of stuff. Alright, let me see if I want to see if this tanks the stream. So let me turn off my cam link, show my display there, so you guys can see that, and we're on our own. Now let's see if I go in here. Tank stream for you guys? How does stream look? Did it suddenly get really choppy or low res or anything like that? Smooth as buttered silk. Interesting. It's smoother? That's funny. Well, I guess that's just because it's looking at my screen instead of my heavy-duty camera. Alright, interesting. Yeah, I just wanted to test if streaming to YouTube at the same time as doing a stream in a Discord voice chat would tank the YouTube stream, but I guess it doesn't. I I can actually stream to both at the same time. That's good to know. All right, cool. Thanks for helping me with that little test, everybody. I was just curious about that for doing future streams, perhaps, where I actually talk to my patrons or my students while streaming, so I can answer some voice-to-voice questions. All right, I'm gonna run, people. Gonna go have some lunch. Thanks for hanging out today. Thanks for watching me draw for a bit. Let me put back the drawing feed. Did a bit of work on it today. It's getting developed up. It's growing out. There's new things happening. I'm just taking a second here to look at the overall comp. I like how this part came out. I did this last night before bed. Not horribly offended by that. All right, people. I'm gonna run. Take care, everybody. I will see you soon. Enjoy your drawing today. Bye, Pablo. Sorry. Bye, Ice Mount Art. Bye, Gabby. Bye, One. Bye, okay. Bye, Dragoon. Bye, Mitchell. Bye, Necrovol. Bye, Zero Tank. Bye, Samuel Cooper. Any advice for an artist living in the middle of nowhere with not much of an art scene around? That's tough. Make friends on Discord. Bye, everybody.